and welcome back to part 2 of my year-end reflection. If you didn't see part 1, it is going to be linked right up there if you want to go watch it. Otherwise, settle in and let's take a little bit more of a chat about what happened in 2022 and what I would like to accomplish going forward in 2023. So as we just saw in part 1, 2022 for me consisted of 11 main make videos as well as 2 really in-depth informational dump type videos, which was my history of wartime knitting, which is definitely a big hit, and then the Edwardian jumper dress video, which was slightly less of a hit but very informational and fun-filled, and I had a ton of fun researching that. So if you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out. But then again, if you're here watching this type of video by me, you've probably already seen it. However, that is definitely one of the projects that's on my list for 2023 is I would like to make at least one style of jumper from that video. Everyone's favorite, I would say, by and large, was the princess seam jumper, which I think is absolutely gorgeous. Like, I love the lines of the princess dress and that style of jumper. However, it also definitely appeals to me to have a sort of more two-piece style jumper because my historical wardrobe is still very, very small. So if I make a garment and it can serve a double duty, so to speak, that would be a definite bonus for me. So that's definitely on the list for 2023, probably, hopefully sometime in the spring or early summer. So 11 big makes, 2 informational dumps, plus 8 monthly vlogs for my coffee members. And if you are interested in becoming a coffee member, right now, at the moment, I don't have any sort of membership levels. It's literally just if you are a monthly supporter at any amount, you get access to these monthly vlogs where I kind of do this sort of video, sit down and have a nice little informal chat, but I do like to include also a bunch of B-roll and sneak peek behind the scenes type footage. So apparently I just can't get away from making highly edited videos. The whole goal was to make a video that was going to be easy and low effort, and then of course I end up like over editing it every month anyway. But if that is something that interests you, or if you want to go on our weekly walks with me and Canal, that's how we wrap up every monthly vlog, is we do a little weekly walk, so you get to see a sneak peek of where we are in the world and some cute corgi content. Anyway, if that is something that interests you, I will put a link for the coffee down in the description. You know where to find it. Moving on, let's talk about favorite projects. So first of all, I would love to know what your guys' favorite project of mine is, and just to see how it compares to mine. For me, my favorite video was probably the V-necked vest from the Red Cross booklet, just because I had such a good time editing it together and using those authentic World War II sound clips. It took me so long to dig those up. Like, it was absolutely inconceivable, and I was afraid for a long time that I wasn't going to find enough clips that were relevant to the knitting aspect of the war effort, but I finally managed to find enough, and that, I really think it just like pulled the whole video together and just gave it this like super nostalgic type feeling. So that was, I think, my favorite video to edit, followed very closely by the Steed Bonnet's Our Flag Means Death robe, just because using all that fun pirate music, oh, it makes it so much fun to edit to. And I think I might have to start making some more cosplays as opposed to like historical makes, because it's just so much fun to edit those videos together and get to use some really fun, adventurous music. It just makes the editing process go so much faster, and it's nice to like break out of the normal mold of the type of music and the type of editing style that I do. And then my favorite actual garment, I think, would have to be the recycled Rosie the Riveter onesie, because it's so comfortable and so practical. I used it a ton backstage in Copenhagen. I have been using it a whole bunch here in Germany, and it's just incredibly cozy. It's kind of like the Lord of the Rings robe from 2 years ago. It's kind of like just wearing a big hug. This does weigh slightly less than the house coat from Lord of the Rings, but it's still a fairly heavy garment, which just makes the warming up aspect of it that much easier because it keeps you very, very warm indeed. Then in something that can't necessarily be classified as favorite or not favorite, but I will say a fun experience from 2022 was just doing all of these really fun collabs and getting to know on a better level some of my fellow creators here on the YouTubes. So I did the Cape Timber with Evie. We co-hosted that. That was super fun. I did the 2 pants videos with Rebecca from Pocketful of Posies, and that was also really great getting to work with her. And then of course, as you saw, the last video that just got released was the collab I did with Aura, and that was super fun getting to meet them in real life, which was also really nice because of course the collab with Evie and Rebecca were both digital. We had to do it via Zoom, but I was really lucky that Aura got to come to Montreal in person and we got to film a couple different things together, one of which has already obviously been released. The other one is going to be an absolute bear to edit, so I'm not entirely sure when that's going to come out, but hopefully soon, so keep your eyes out for that. But that was another really great part of 2022 was getting to meet so many people in the community and get a bit closer with them. And I am hoping to do more of that and continue rolling it forward for 2023. Now, in preparation for this video, I did go through and watch last year's roundup recap video, and in that one I did a really fun summary of all my fancy, fun in-camera transitions and editing clips from the past year, and then I tried to do that again for this year, but I noticed I had significantly fewer, so that was definitely sort of a little mental reminder that I need to maybe continue to up my game in terms of editing and in-camera transitions, because I absolutely love doing them, but they do take a lot of forethought and planning, and I'm just not always that organized. Sometimes I'm in too much of a rush to kind of try to get the video out or get the garment made because I have a deadline. So I think a little bit more planning and forethought going into videos in the next year is something that I would like to try and do. So here you go, for the time being, here's my very short little roundup of all the fun, fancy editing things I did this year. And while I may have had fewer fancy transitions and editing things in my videos, it was super fun to see just how much stuff I managed to recycle last year. So starting out, I had just over a yard of thrifted wool and some garage sale buttons, and all of that got thrown together to become my 1911 self-drafted skirt, which absolutely blew up and kind of took over my channel. So that was very unexpected, but also really fun to see just what a little scrap of wool can become. Then a bed sheet from a dumpster, a curbside salvage, and some fringe from our theater's garbage bin went into my Our Flag Means Death robe. Now, obviously, I had to go out and buy the main fashion fabric for this project because that was kind of the whole point. It was a cosplay, and you need to use the correct screen accurate-ish fabric for the outside layer, but I did think it was fun that I was able to put my own spin on it, and I thought that color combination worked out beautifully. I don't usually wear red. I don't really wear pink either though, so it's kind of a toss-up on that one. But I do think it turned out super well. I love the depth of the blue that goes into the piping, and then to use the purple bed sheet for the inside lining. Gives it a nice little weight. Turned out super well and was really fun to be able to recycle that. Then of course there was several months of scavenging of towels, which led to my recycled Rosie onesie. That was a ton of fabric recycling right there. And then trash piles across Montreal were raided in order to construct my new and much improved sewing table, which I love and cherish. And of course some of that recycled material also went into just redoing the room in general, including the shelves that you see in the background of my video. Those are rather intensely upcycled. If you've seen that video, you'll know what I'm talking about. And if you're a coffee member, you'll have even more details on what exactly went into making those shelves. It was a bit in depth, what can I say? And then of course it was also really fun to be able to see the leftovers from past projects be able to be recycled and completely used up in current projects. So for example, the wool that I had left over from my 1890s bloomers, which I went to some pretty intense lengths to save as much yardage as possible, that was 100% used up in my Hobbit capelet. And then of course there was the erroneous back panel from my 1890s sports corset, which then was super useful when trying to fit the mock-ups for my corset hoodie. So it was really fun being able to go find the old footage from that and pull it back and sort of show how these things, they are still useful even if they're, you know, maybe mistakes or leftover footage. You can save it and you can reuse it and it can still be very, very useful. Then I thought I would do a fun little segment called Where Is It Now? Because there are a few projects that I get a lot of repeat questions on, the main one being the corgi couch, and was I able to bring it back with me to Montreal? Because of course I made it in Copenhagen and I put so much time and effort and work and love into crafting it, but then I'm obviously no longer in Copenhagen. I moved back to Montreal and people keep asking me, where's the couch? I am happy to report, and if you're a coffee member, you will already know this, that the couch did come back with us to Montreal. It is currently living in our apartment where there is maybe not quite enough room for it, but I still have it, was able to ship it back. The details are in the monthly vlog for August, I think. So yes, I do still have it. Then the other one I get asked a lot about is the Rosie the Riveter onesie, and I did also save that one. It did also come back with me to Montreal and then has now come here now to meet with me in Germany, where I have been using it on a regular basis to warm up and get ready for our show and then to cool down after the act. It was extra useful when we just had a cold snap a week and a half ago and there was snow everywhere, and as you can imagine, a tent is a little bit tricky to heat and insulate, so while they did their best, it was still a little bit cold backstage, and that onesie was extra useful, and I actually got a lot of compliments on it from my castmates who noticed that it was incredibly practical. So I do still have that. Then lastly is the Lord of the Rings robe, which I also of course still have because I put so much love and care and time into it. It currently lives at my parents' house because I celebrate Christmas with them every year and I love to wear it during Christmas. So for the moment it is living there, but I do get to wear it every year when I celebrate Christmas, and it is the coziest thing. And then looking at some upcoming plans for 2023. So first up on the list, I have already fully scripted out a draft along of that 1911 skirt that everybody absolutely loved. However, I did have to tweak the instructions to make them size inclusive because the current instructions, the way they are written, are incredibly not size inclusive. So I had to find a new method of drafting that works for, as far as I can tell, everybody that I've tested it on. So that is all scripted out and then just needs to be filmed when I arrive back in Montreal sometime in January, February. So we've got the draft along. I've also got the potential sew along for the corset hoodie. Still not 100% sure how I'm going to run that, whether it's going to be a lot of videos or if it's going to be maybe a video and then a lot of Instagram and or Discord. We'll have to see, but that's definitely on the list for early this year. Then, as I've hinted in my fabric haul video, I will be doing a Dread Pirate Roberts, but make it 1890s, and I am super excited about that. I have a plan, I have the fabric, some of it is cut out, and I have been slowly sewing some of it on this contract. So that will be coming out, but it is, I think, more of a summer project in terms of I'm just thinking I already know what I want to do for at least part of the reveal, and it needs grass and dryness. So that's going to have to wait until the summer, but that's fine because there is so much smocking in this project that I will need all of that time in order to be able to complete this project. So upcoming, but not necessarily anytime soon. Then another thing that I really am excited about and that I do hope I can get started and finish this year is that I would really love to recreate Lily Elsie's outfit from the production of Aladdin. There will probably be a picture of it right here. I originally wanted to do this for a meetup costume gathering happening in the early spring. However, I do not think that is actually going to happen. Do not think I will be attending that. So instead, I just want to make it for me because I think it's an absolutely a gorgeous outfit. It is also maybe more me than making a beautiful ball gown, or I'm just not so much into the dresses and the skirts, which is not so great for the algorithm because y'all love the skirts and the dresses, but I just think I just love the appeal of this outfit. I think it's gorgeous and I would like to make it, and I would like to make it trying to use some historically accurate-ish tailoring techniques. So I have purchased the Victorian tailor. Thank you very much to all my coffee members who helped get me to that goal. I now have this book. I have been slowly reading it here on this contract and absorbing some of that knowledge and trying to make a material list of what some of the materials are that I need, these very specific tailoring tools, canvases, all that kind of stuff. I would like to do some historical menswear, but for a feminine body. Then I do have a thrifting collaboration planned both with Aura as well as with Angela of Demi Pint Creations, because of course when Aura was here visiting in Montreal, the three of us got together, we did some really fun photo shoots, we had a great time hanging out, and of course we got chatting and plotting, and we discussed that we would like to do a collaboration with a very strict budget and time deadline, and I'm super looking forward to working with those two because they are some amazing human beings and I cannot wait to see what we all come up with. Then I'm also thinking that I would like to do some more historical circus costuming content. I'm not sure if that's going to take the form of making costumes for myself and Phil that we'll use in our actual everyday working scenario. That would be obviously the easiest and the most practical, but I would also like to do some very impractical, historically inspired circus costumes as well, because I think those are just super fun and I love looking at all these old photos of these amazing antique circus costumes. So would love to eventually do some of that. And last up is just in general, I'd like to do some cosplays, both because they're incredibly fun to make, they're super fun to edit. I'm telling you, sometimes I'm just super motivated by what would be really fun to edit, what has some really kick-ass soundtrack potential, and I'm kind of more leaning towards the fun fantasy than I am the historical cosplay, so we'll see. Which brings me to my question, which is, what would you, my viewer, like to see from me? What do you really enjoy? Would you like to see more of the sew-alongs and draft-alongs like the corset hoodie? Would you like more of the fancy make videos, which do seem to be the bread and butter of my channel so far and which seem to definitely do the best? Would you enjoy really in-depth tutorials like that super broken down step-by-step of how to make Steed's robe? Do you enjoy the behind the seams videos where I often do the, well, maybe not often, but I sometimes do the main make and then I'll do a separate video which is the behind the seams where I'll really break the project down? Do you like the recycled content? Do you really dig that kind of stuff? And then I won't even ask about the informational videos because honestly those pretty much bomb on my channel. I spend so much time researching them and then more hours, tons of hours, kind of compiling it into a coherent and cohesive script, and then they always just flop. So I'm not even going to ask about those. I think I'm just going to abandon them. So let me know what you're most excited about, what you would like to see more of coming from me in, you know, the upcoming months and years. And otherwise, just generally leave me a comment. Let me know, how did you find my channel? What do you love about it? Something interesting. I don't know, say hi to Canal. I hope you all are having a fantastic and relaxing end of the year, beginning of the new year, and I'll see you in upcoming videos as we head more into 2023. Thank you so much for being here, for supporting the channel, for watching my videos. I definitely appreciate it, especially if you've made it to this point. That means you are probably a very dedicated viewer. So thank you so much for just being there and being an amazing audience and leaving some fantastic comments. And I'm about to lose my voice, so I'll see you in my next video. Bye.